So here we are the day after Memorial Day, and it's kind of official now that the summer travel season has begun. And really I would say he's one of the most traveled people maybe in California. I don't know, but I would say he's up there. He happens to be a local Spanish teacher. Brian Asher is here, and he teaches Spanish at Rio Americana, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but you're also known as the World Hiker, and you have your own website, theworldhiker.com, a great Facebook page with photographs that look like they should be in a book or magazines. They're just stunning. Really beautiful, Brian. Yeah, they're lovely. But the thing about Brian is he has been to so many countries. I talked to you last year, and since then you've been to 18 new countries, bringing your total to 87.
Yep, that's correct.
Which is phenomenal. I mean, you just are incredible traveler. So where did you go recently? What were the additions?
Well, this last year I had more time off in the summer. So last summer I got to go to 13 countries in Africa, like South Africa and Zimbabwe and Zambia and Madagascar, which was fabulous for me. First time to Africa. Definitely glad I had traveled to other countries before, because sometimes it could be a bit more challenging, but it was wonderful for me to see all the animals and the game reserves, for example, in Africa. And then over Thanksgiving, I went to the Holy Land, to Israel, Jordan, and got to see a lot of the religious sites there. And over Christmas break, went to Patagonia, which is not a brand of clothing like a lot of people think, but it's actually a region in Chile and Argentina down by Antarctica, about as far south as you can go in the world, with lots of hiking and penguins and beautiful landscapes down there.
Well, the amount of travel that you do, Brian, I think a lot of people say, how in the world do you do all this? I mean, first of all, for somebody that doesn't travel a lot, especially to a new country, how do you acclimate to the time schedule? When you land, what do you do?
Sure. Well, as soon as I get there, I try not to take naps. I try to get myself onto the time schedule as quickly as I can. That might be walking around, being active as you get on a plane, going to bed at a normal time despite being really, really tired. Get yourself on the normal time schedule as quick as you can, and get out and get moving. Usually you've been sitting on a plane for 8, 12, maybe 24 hours with layovers. So I like to get out, stretch my legs, and go to bed at a normal time despite being ridiculously tired. That helps me to acclimate to the normal time schedule.
Well, you know a good way to travel on a budget, too, because you've been to 87 countries, which would cost a small fortune for a lot of people, but you found a way to get some pretty good flights.
Yeah, no, that's my whole deal, is how to do it I've been a teacher here in the U.S. for the last 4 years. I've taught abroad, making less than I do now, and to do it on a budget. So for me, flights is always the big one. That's going to be your most expensive one. But I look in advance, typically buy them 2 to 3 months in advance. I know how to find sometimes mistake deals. I'll go on Google Flights and get an idea of what flights are going for. I always take a carry-on backpack so that I don't get charged extra for luggage on budget airlines. I know how to fly into hubs like maybe a London or a Sao Paulo or Bangkok, and then take a budget airline like EasyJet, Ryanair in Europe. Get very cheap flights to connect you to places. AirAsia in Asia can get you to Bangkok on a major airline, and then for $40-50 you can fly to a neighboring country for cheaper than a car or a bus or a train would take you there.
And you're not staying at the Four Seasons or even the Sheraton, right?
No. I typically stay at hostels are my go-to. That's where often you're sharing a room with other people. You can get your own room if you want. Sometimes in Africa or places like that where there's not as many hostels, it's guest houses, it's small local hotels. But I'm not reserving big fancy places in advance. Usually I'm doing my research online or talking to local people to find local places, which are more authentic and definitely a lot cheaper once you get there.
That's one of the things I've noticed about your travels is you really immerse yourself into the culture and the local people, and you really, I think, probably enhance your experience that way.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's the way to go. As soon as I get there, if I can talk to people at my hostel, talk to people at tourist information centers, it could be in the street, it could be at local restaurants, but whatever a local tells me is going to be 10 times more valuable than what my guidebook tells me, than what I read at home online, because they live there. If you come to Sacramento, you're going to want to know what people in Sacramento like to do, and someone sitting next to you on a bus could give you 10 minutes information that is way better than 2 hours of you researching at home 3-4 months in advance.
Yeah, that makes sense. And how adventuresome are you when it comes to food?
I love trying everything. I know street food, there's a lot of different programs on TV and on YouTube and things with street food, so I do like to go out. And especially in cheaper countries that have a lower cost of living here than the U.S., you can get great street food in places like Mexico, Brazil, Thailand for usually just a few dollars. and it's fabulous. I mean, you're trying all kinds of different things. I think people are very friendly at the vendors and the carts and everything, so it's also a great way to meet local people and see where the local people eat. In Spanish we say, donde está lleno está bueno, which means where it's good, it's full of people, or where it's full of people, it's good. So if there's a lot of locals there, that's usually the place I'm trying to hit up.
Yeah, good sign. Well, you mentioned YouTube, and I preface this with all your incredibly beautiful photographs, but you, in addition to the pictures, you're making a lot of videos now, I understand.
Yeah, last year was about trying to make the website, theworldhiker.com, and to get that up and running. I'm still adding articles to it almost every week here, and then now in the last year, with the help of some of my students at Rio Americano, I'm learning how to make videos, which is a huge process and one step at a time here, but it's nice after school at lunch. I've got a couple students that are real talented that come over and can answer my questions, and so it's a way to share where I travel and where I hike and where I run with people who might want to go there or might want to live vicariously through you to see some of these places that you're going. So that's my goal.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people that like the armchair tours there, right? So you have theworldhiker.com, and then you also have your Facebook page as well. If somebody wants to see the pictures, read more, look at the videos, that kind of thing.
Sure, yeah. My goal now is to hopefully make a new video for each country that I go to, and they're going to be more under the radar, obscure countries, because I've been to a lot of the more well-known ones, but hopefully it teaches people about parts of the world that they've never been to or they've only read about before, and hopefully give a little glimpse into what life's like in these countries.
Yeah. Well, I have to end asking you a question that I'm sure everybody asks you, and it's probably an impossible one, but out of 87 countries, is there one you really want to go back to again because you love it so much?
Well, I've lived in 5 different countries, so those have a lot of great memories where you spend more time. For me, being an outdoor lover and a backpacking guide in Colorado for 3 summers, this last year going to Patagonia, which is Chile and Argentina, is a place that kind of checks off all the things on my bucket list of what I look for in a travel destination. So you got great outdoors, you can speak Spanish, you're getting down to a different part of the world. It's almost like you're in Antarctica. There's penguins, there's glaciers. If you get a car, you can just drive all over the place in the national park. So for me, that's in recent couple of years here, that's one of my favorite spots that I've been to and I would go back to for sure.
Very nice. Do you wear Patagonia gear?
Maybe if it's on sale or if I got it at the summer camp I worked at. I don't know if I'll go purchase it necessarily, but I might have 1 or 2 things from them.
Well, maybe they'll wise up and sponsor you someday. That is Brian Asher, the world hiker, which is almost an understatement. I mean, all the things that he does. So it's the website's theworldhiker.com, and we'll link that. And of course, during his days, usually he's found at Rio Americano teaching Spanish and well loved by his students.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to my kids.
Do
I
it.
told them I would say hello to them, and got 170 students every day. So that's one of my favorite things, is to combine that passion for travel, the outdoors, and then your experiences outside the classroom, bring it in and share it with your kids to hopefully make language come alive to them and, have life experiences rather than just beat them over the head with a textbook. So that's my goal every day when I wake up, to share it with a lot of young people and inspire them to get out there and see what it's like for themselves.
Brian, you're one of the best types of teachers. That's wonderful. All right, Brian Asher there. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
That was so awesome.